Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? I needed Monday off. In terms of talking about the Eagles, I needed Monday off. I had my instant reaction up Sunday night, but there was so much to dissect, so much to look at. I had to rewatch the film. I had to hear from respected people around the league. I needed to get information, and I had to let it digest because there's so much to look at when it comes to this offense and this team as a whole. It's very frustrating. It's hard to watch, but there is so much blame to go around. Howie Roseman, Doug Pederson, Carson Wentz, the receivers, the offensive line, so many issues. And everyone has blame. Everyone. Before we dive more into this, I want to let you know about the promo code BROADS that you can use at SeatGeek's checkout page for $20 off of your total purchase. So you get to buy tickets, go to a game, save $20, put that towards parking, food, beer. It's a no-brainer. Use the promo code BROADS today. So, offensively, it was abysmal. We'll start with Carson Wentz. His mechanics are all over the place right now. His footwork is so bad. He's throwing off of his back foot. He seems rushed. The game is too fast for him at the moment. He's overthinking. Clearly, he's overthinking. And he has no confidence. But what film study has shown, the receivers are really not helping him. It's hard to see it in full speed in the first replay. Oh, look at this. Carson Wentz missed the throw by a yard. Oh, we put it on the wrong side of J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Well, let's study the film a little bit more. And I thought Dan Orlovsky did a fantastic job, and I'll put the link in the description, of breaking down some plays where Carson Wentz is delivering the ball in the right spot while the receiver's not in the right spot. And that comes down to route running. That comes down to lack of a skill set from these players. They're not fast enough. They don't have the IQ, and they don't study the playbook well enough. They can't comprehend the playbook. That doesn't mean that Carson Wentz did not miss wide open throws at times. The Miles Sanders plays in the flat. When he's staring at Miles Sanders, decides not to throw it to him and then gets sacked. I mean, there's plenty of times where Carson Wentz made mental mistakes and did not pull the trigger on throws, and where he missed plenty of opportunities. But there are also times where it looks like it's Carson Wentz's fault, but these receivers are not running the right routes properly. One of the examples was J.J. Arcega-Whiteside running a slant play. Well, instead of running the slant and cutting across the middle, he starts fading towards the end zone, and that allows the defender to cut off the pass easy. He just cuts it off so easy. That goes on the receiver. That fourth down play where J.J. Arcega-Whiteside had the ball in his hands, but Carson threw it to the wrong side of his body. You can see in slow motion J.J. Arcega-Whiteside move from the spot where the ball was supposed to be thrown to. Same with Greg Ward at one point. He didn't stop at the right spot. Carson delivered the throw in the right spot. Greg Ward did not. I'm not making excuses for Carson Wentz. It's a reality. Carson Wentz still sucked. He still sucked in the football game and missed plenty of wide open throws. But there were plenty of times where it was on the receiver as well. It's a fact. It can be both. It can be Carson Wentz sucked and the receiver sucked and Doug Pederson sucked. It can be all of those things. Now, I'll tell you where Doug Pederson really bothered me. And it starts with Andre Dillard, okay? Andre Dillard should have never played right tackle. He should have just never played right tackle. I don't blame Andre Dillard. I know he spoke to the media and he said, oh, it's like writing with your left hand if you're right-handed. So he's setting himself up for failure mindset-wise. But if I'm a coach and I understand the difference and how brutal the switch really is, I'm not throwing a rookie in there if he doesn't feel confident to do it. There are other ways to handle the situation. Whether it was giving Pryor the start from the beginning at guard and having Vaitai play tackle. Well, no, that doesn't make sense, actually, because Brandon Brooks left with the anxiety thing, so that's why Pryor went to right guard. So that's totally a different scenario. But what I'm saying is, Vaitai could have played right tackle from the jump. Now, I know Vaitai stinks, but he at least played that position before. Or Jason Peters plays right tackle, and then you have Andre Dillard being comfortable at the left tackle position. Doug Pederson handled that situation so poorly right from the jump. You don't throw a rookie at right tackle if he hasn't played at all in years. And film has shown that Andre Dillard was giving away keys to whether it was a pass play or a run play based off the way he was set up. That's based off of him not being confident enough to play the right side. All based on his footwork. The way he was lined up with his footwork showed whether it was going to be a pass or a run. So the other team knew what was going to happen before it even happened. And not only that, that goes into some play calls from Doug. You have the opponents coming out, and this isn't the first opponent. This is not the first team to say this. They knew exactly what was coming before it happened. That comes down to scheme and Doug Pederson having a poor vanilla scheme. How come we never know what other teams are going to do? We never know the other squad's plays, but somehow they're waiting for these screen passes. It's funny. In my post-game video, I stated it was almost as if the other team expected that and knew the play before it was called. Then I upload the video and I see on Twitter that the other team already said that to the media. I didn't hear that first. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. But for the Brandon Brooks thing, it's just something that you can't game plan for. He talks about how he throws up every day before a game. Every day. Wakes up, he starts throwing up. And to this degree, however he felt on Sunday, it reached an all-time high. Now, he battles through this every single day, every game. He finds ways to put it behind him. Now, I wonder if, I do wonder if this triggered his anxiety, knowing that Andre Dillard was on the right side of him and knowing that he wasn't ready. So it would put a lot of pressure on Brandon Brooks. It's a serious thing to discuss because I think that is definitely a factor. Something triggers the anxiety, and he's been really solid when Lane Johnson is to the right of him. Well, you're throwing in this rookie, you're throwing in this guy that doesn't feel confident about playing the right side. Maybe he felt as if he had so much weight on his shoulders to be elite in that game, it triggered something. I don't knock him. I respect the hell out of him, and even with how he presents it, he's so open about it. He's understanding about it. He says, listen, this is something I have to deal with, and it hurt the team on Sunday, and he doesn't feel good about it, but the way he puts it out there, I really do respect. Let's get to Greg Ward. He had a good game. He had a good game to the point where Jordan Matthews was waived. Now, there's some discussion about Crayvon LeBlanc maybe being in the mix of returning, so did that play a factor? Here's the thing. Greg Ward had some nice catches. He's not going to change the offense. He's not going to be this elite threat. But he showed he can make some catches. Now, I was actually listening to Adam Kaplan of the NFL, and he's on Sirius XM Radio. He does Inside the Birds podcast. He was talking to one of his people who studies films and studies different teams. The way Greg Ward catches the ball, and this is just what he says, the way he catches the ball will cause issues down the line. He catches it with his body more than he does his hands. And he was bringing up how, is this something that the Eagles teach? Because you look at where he has been on the practice squad. He's been in the Eagles organization. So is this something the Eagles are teaching? Now, he was making catches on Sunday. But they're just saying, look for that in the future because the way he's actually catching the ball isn't proper. Just something to keep your eye out on. But for Greg Ward to be involved that heavily, it's weird. They were running jet sweep type plays and whatnot with him. So if he's that versatile, if he can do that much, how was he not on the football field? Like, how was he not on the field? How was he not playing? If you can have so many different looks for him and use him in so many different ways, it's mind-blowing that he was on the practice squad that long. And looking at some of the other receivers, like Alshon Jeffrey, I don't know what to think anymore. I don't know what to think anymore. This guy's cleared to play. He doesn't want to play. He played through injuries in the Super Bowl, but now he's nursing a minor little injury. I think he's the rat at this point. I do. I'm not saying he is, but my personal belief, I think that there's some sort of disconnect between him and the quarterback maybe, and he has had some sort of, I would say, smell to him all throughout his career. He's not the perfect teammate in the world. He hasn't been. I mean, there's a reason why Chicago got rid of him as well. There's always a little smell around him. And maybe he got so comfortable. Like in the beginning, he was happy, and then the Super Bowl thing happened, he's happy. But he gets so comfortable within an organization now, it's as if, he thinks he's this big shot, and maybe he looks at the contract and the dead cap space, and he's thinking, listen, what are they going to do? Cut me and have all the dead cap? Well, maybe. I'm leaning towards that. I'm leaning towards getting this guy out of the organization. It's funny. We embraced him. We loved him. Oh, Alshon, it's okay you dropped the ball in the Saints game in the playoffs. We still love you. It's funny how things switch and change just like that. Just like that. And this brings me to something that I actually tweeted. These young guys, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Andre Dillard, Miles Sanders, they dreamed their whole life to play in the NFL, right? They dreamed of coming out of the tunnel, playing in the NFL, winning Super Bowls, being an effective player for their respected squads. Do you think they ever dreamed about being 5-6 in Philadelphia and getting abused and criticized by the media and fan base? Now listen, that's part of the gig here. If you don't perform, you're going to get roasted. And I believe as fans and as media, that's our job. Our job is to do that. But it's funny how, they have these high expectations. I want to win Super Bowls. I want to be a game-changing player. Well, you don't really think about if you're 5-6 and you're getting absolutely crucified by the media and the fans. You don't think about that. I wonder if J.J. Arcega-Whiteside's sitting in his stall or sitting at home saying, damn, these people are crazy. These people are nuts. Or if Andre Dillard's thinking, woo, wow. This place is something special. Now, it's not just Philadelphia. Foxborough would do the same thing, although they're kind of skewed because they win Super Bowls every year. Pittsburgh, absolutely. You don't think Mike Tomlin hears it all the time, right? But he's used to it. If a rookie goes into Pittsburgh and starts hearing the media, they're probably thinking the same damn thing. You won't hear it as much in, say, Jacksonville or Tampa Bay, but the East Coast cities, the bigger cities, yeah, you hear it all the time. I just find that funny. But speaking of Miles Sanders, 12 carries? Come on, Doug. Put the ball in the playmaker's hands. He was averaging a decent little how do you do in the game. And then he stopped going to him. Doug loves getting away from the run game. Sickening. One thing I want to mention. For the I told you so people about Carson Wentz, you can say I told you so about being inaccurate at times because he has been inaccurate at times. But in those games where he's inaccurate and needs to make some throws, he makes game-changing plays as well. He steps up and delivers a ball that is fantastic. He escapes the pocket, he ducks underneath and throws a first down pass. He makes plays. We have never seen a 2-game stretch like this. To say I told you so, there was nothing in the history of Carson Wentz's career that would show he would put on games like this in back-to-back moments. There's just nothing. He has had times where some of these moments shone, but this has never happened. The Eagles are connected with Carson Wentz for years to come. There needs to be a way to figure this out. Let me throw this out there. Aaron Rodgers had a pathetic performance on the road in San Francisco, and he looked bad. We look at Carson Wentz with a magnifying glass because he's our quarterback, and that is so fair. That is so fair. But this isn't a unique situation. There are times where quarterbacks in this league, who have good resumes, may I add, struggle for a little bit of time. Aaron Rodgers, pathetic. He looked so bad. And every time people bring up, well, the quarterback's job is to elevate the wide receivers. Did Aaron Rodgers do that in San Francisco? Right? No, he didn't. He didn't. When Drew Brees lost to the Atlanta Falcons at home a couple weeks ago, did he elevate his receivers? No. No, he didn't. It happens. Now, this is 2 games in a row, and it's a little concerning because, once again, it's our quarterback. We're looking at him with a magnifying glass. It's different. It's okay to be concerned. But to give up on the guy forever, to say he'll never make it, you can't say that yet. It's still too early to tell. He's playing bad. I mean, he's playing bad football, and his confidence is shot. And if you don't have confidence, you're not going to be able to play. But it's tough to have confidence when your coach is putting you in tough positions. When your wide receivers are not in the right spots. I brought this up on 97.3 ESPN. If you're playing football out with your boys, right? You're in a big open field. You're playing some legit football, tackle football. You're being aggressive with the boys on Saturday afternoon, right? You're the quarterback. You know that Johnny and Matt are bad, and they're on the right side of the field. And you know Chris is talented as hell, and he's got speed. You drop back, and after the 2 quarters of play, you know which receivers are good, which receivers are not good. You're going to most likely think twice when going to those players because you know they're not good enough. Well, put that in perspective of being on the NFL field. You need playmakers. You need guys who are going to be in the right position. You're now a few games in with J.J. Arcega-Whiteside getting legit minutes. You've played with Jordan Matthews now, but you realize at this age and where he is at in his career, he is not running routes properly. He's not getting open. He's not getting separation. Well, that starts to come into your mind, and you realize like these guys can't do anything. So he starts pressing. He starts moving too quickly. He's overthinking things. It all correlates. I don't think Carson Wentz would be this bad if he had legit players at wide receiver. He needs to clean up some of his plays, absolutely. But like I mentioned, there's times where any quarterback misses wide open plays. Russell Wilson missed a wide open touchdown pass. Aaron Rodgers, when we played them in Green Bay, he missed a touchdown pass to win the game and threw an interception. Bad plays happen. But it comes down to making the big plays, and he's not making those big plays now. Carson Wentz will never be perfect. He will never throw 100% a beautiful game. There will be times where he misses open throws because that's just what he does. But it comes down to, will he be able to, 1, limit those, and 2, come up with the big plays as well. He needs to find ways to come up with the big plays. But that's not going to happen with these receivers. It's just not. It's just not. So it is possible to have bad quarterback play, which you're getting out of Carson Wentz, and bad wide receivers, and a bad head coaching job. You're getting all 3 of those. And I think that is why Carson Wentz is looking so bad. That's how I feel about it. What does that mean moving forward? Listen, a lot of people are looking at Dallas and saying we're still in it. We are still technically in it. But how can you assume this team is going to win out? This team is playing so poorly right now offensively. They could lose to the Giants, absolutely. Absolutely, they could lose a game to the Giants. But I'm not going ahead and thinking about that Dallas game in Philadelphia at the Link. I'm not ready to go there yet. I'm worried about Miami. The way this team is playing right now, I'm worried about Miami. I mean, that's all I can worry about. Only time will tell when it comes down to who's going to really win the division. Dallas has more weapons than us. That's just what it is. I don't want to get too far ahead and start thinking about that game. We need to get to that game first. And you need to win out? I mean, really? We're going to expect this team to win out? It's crazy. But the defense is playing seriously fantastic. Jim Schwartz has done such a great job. You are seeing Jim Schwartz adjust. Like, he's never been this aggressive. He's never been this solid, I think. He's starting to make he's starting to make legitimate adjustments. And it's not so much about his scheme. He's throwing different looks out there. He's not afraid to bring the blitz. I'm really loving what I'm seeing out of Jim Schwartz, to the point where I really don't want him to get a head coaching job. It's so funny. Years ago, I despised him. Even when he had talent, I despised him. But he had a different narrative. He wouldn't make adjustments. He was so strict and so in love with his scheme. Picket fence defense, we're going to play this way, and it got roasted at times, and it bothered me. But it's not that way right now. The good thing is teams don't want to hire defensive head coaches. They're looking for that offensive, young Sean McVay guru. Yeah, how's that working out? That's how hard this league is. Look at the Rams. They went from the Super Bowl, now look at them. Look what happened with the Eagles. That window already closed. That's reality. You can't compare yourself to the Patriots. Reality is you win that Super Bowl one year. It doesn't mean it's a fluke. It means that year you had it put together. It's just that hard to have it put together consistently. We laugh at the Patriots. We laugh. They stink. There's no way they're going to do it. Look at their record. They win football games. Nuts. It's nuts. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.